Chat, here we go. We have another show match. We got right into it real quick after the stream started. It's going to be NRG's Frosty back to try and continue his streak against the likes of Nush over on EU servers. So 100 ping for Frosty against Nush. Nush is an up-and-coming, I believe, 13-year-old over from Saudi Arabia. Originally an age that could not play in the RLCS, but as of this season can play in the RLCS. So I don't know if anybody knows if Nush has, hopped on a team for the start of MENA, because why not? I can't see why not. He's got to be on some team, I would imagine. The question is whether or not he's on a team that we think we can compete with the likes of the best. Rule 1 announced, by the way, for those of you who maybe are only watching on YouTube or not keeping up on Twitter. The MENA team, Rule 1, officially going to be Khaled, Ahmad, and Nupo. Looking to be a contender for those 2 MENA spots alongside the Falcons and probably the Twisted Minds. Or maybe Nush's team as well, you never know, as it has been a long time since the last RLCS games. But that being said, MENA is actually one of the regions you probably do know about because they play so many off-season tournaments. You get an idea of who is good and who isn't. Whereas a lot of teams have been hiding over in the other regions for a while. Frosty taking a slight disadvantage today, the kind of disadvantage that we see players taking to play against Diaz when they come to play him on US East. Frosty is going over to EU, where Nush is going to be very comfortable playing, as he played there, probably most of his ranked. I think most of MENA's ranked is played on EU, if not all of it. I imagine they must queue MENA servers sometimes. As Frosty taps this one over to the back right corner, going to find the tight angle and put himself in the lead. So I think I had Frosty's history open here so I can get an idea of what kind of streak he's on. Looking like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 game winning streak. 6-game winning streak for Frosty. Trailing all the way back into the Salt Mine qualifiers. The only reason why, the streak is still continuing is because he ended up dipping out. I mean, not to say he might have continued all the way through the qualifiers and won all of Salt Mine, but because you didn't see him in Salt Mine, you might have thought he lost, but he actually didn't, because he dipped out of the qualifiers voluntarily, and so he got replaced by the next up. Frosty has been playing well in ones, even though he's not as highly rated as some of his opponents, and not as highly rated as Nush, who I think is sitting at number 35 in the world right now. But the start of this match is struggling to get going here against Frosty. Nush is a very mechanical player, as we're often used to seeing coming out of MENA. Thank you for making my point, Nush. Thank you for making my point. He shows right here what he can do. A nice air dribble reset quickly into the flick. 107 km/h shot past Frosty. And is now within 1. The MENA youngsters always seem to be able to do whatever they want on the ball, and Nush is no exception. Nice coverage on Frosty's shot. I mean, Frosty probably a bit greedy to even go for that. I have to go back and look from his perspective, but it seemed clear that Nush was going to have a stop, but most importantly, it was kind of an all-in play for not nearly a high percentage enough opportunity for Frosty. As he misses his wave dash kickoff, and Nush gets an opportunity to show what he can do. He's going to go to ceiling height this time as Frosty waits on the ground. He actually ended up placing it directly at Frosty. He saw Frosty pre-jump, presumably trying to come challenge the ball, and he actually placed the ball away into the bottom corner, which was a decent shot. Frosty's backflip almost still had the save. Now Nush in the lead. Interested to see where the prediction ended up. A lot of you guys probably a little bit more familiar with Frosty as he's played more matches recently. Nush, I think, is probably on a losing streak. Oh, Frosty's going to try and go the distance of the field. Doesn't have enough boost, and it's going to be a pass to Nush. Yes, it is. Nush will get a goal. But it looks like chat slightly favored Nush. I did try and point out this time in the prediction that Frosty was going to be playing on EU servers. I think a lot of times people maybe forget about that when they're predicting, and it's certainly a disadvantage. Hopefully not too much of a one, as we are able to get him green ping, it seems. But still one nonetheless, as Nush collects the ball at the midfield, cuts it back, and this is the absolute edge of green ping for Frosty on exactly 100. Nush, ball to air dribble. First touch is far out of the net, so he has to use the next one just to re-corral it. And ultimately, Frosty able to be reactive to that play. Make a save on the goal line. Nush, midfield demo. And a strong first touch as he tries to capitalize despite the fact that he is far away from the net. Little wave dash shot. Probably happens just a bit too close to Frosty in defense. So even though he changed the angle on it, not enough time to get separation. So Frosty still has to save. Minute 30. And it's certainly on Frosty to stay in possession and find some offense. He has the boost to make a nice dribble here. Nice use of the reset. Oh my goodness. Just barely couldn't score. But insane control from Frosty to recognize where he needed to take the ball. A couple pixels off. It's going to be a Pogo attempted shot from Nush, and even though it doesn't go in immediately, the follow-up is there. Frosty, very passive. He knows what Nush can do now, and I think Nush was hoping for a bit of a harder landing on that Pogo. Get some power, some oomph on that ball, but it ends up working out because Frosty, afraid of what can happen, ends up getting only a soft save. Nush, what a reset. My goodness, it's a fancy way to ultimately just take the dribble straight at Frosty. As he got that backflip reset. Frosty trying to place well. Probably just needs to pepper the net now with as many solid shots as possible. And he actually sees Nush making a poor defensive challenge. So smart from Frosty to back off this play. He has this reset. And he says, Nush, if you're really going to come out here and pre-flip under the ball and get a soft touch, I'll let you. I'll just go to the ground. These kickoffs have to go in his favor. They really haven't been. Nush has had the last few. He's going to try and take this all the way to net, despite the fact the ball rolling back into the orange half off the kickoff. Not very favorable. Nush, another midfield wall to air dribble. He is so speedy in the air. I don't know if that has to do with like sensitivity, but he is just so quick and controlled. I think he just has a plan from the very beginning. And when he notices Frosty backing off and him landing short, he just cuts underneath the ball and double jumps it in. 8-4. Nush looking clean, but one of the biggest things is probably the kickoff. Frosty hasn't looked too terrible in the open field. It's just you add 5 or so kickoff possessions extra for Nush, and the scoreline can very easily get away from you. Nush trying a quick shot. Frosty, one last opportunity to show off here in game number 1. Maybe build up a bit of confidence. It is going to be a nice air dribble to the ceiling for a reset and a musty past Nush. When does Squishy play? You know, somebody was asking me on YouTube comments, I think, why Squishy doesn't play in 1v1s more often. I think he's not interested. It's not that people wouldn't, want to have Squishy on. No question that Frosty just needs to clean up the kickoff. I say just. I think the match is fairly even if it weren't for the kickoff possessions. But Nush is going to score again. He's going to score from Turtle on his fake. But the big thing is, he won the first kickoff heavy. Cuts this infield. He's going to go for a double, but he pulled off of it. That's actually a great fake. He set it up off the back wall, approached the ball like he was going to get a touch with the nose of his car. At the last second, pull off of it, and instead get a touch flat. This ends up hitting the ball much later and a way wider angle than Frosty's prepped for. So Frosty just jumps past the play, and the fake works magnificently. Nush seems like a guy on the ball who gets into the flow state. Frosty needs to prevent that, but like I said, if Nush just keeps winning kickoffs, he gets right into his spot. And Frosty trying to show off. Great use of the little bit of boost he did have left over. He managed to make a zero boost air dribble, or a air dribble that finishes in zero boost. One that does not result in a counterattack, which is hard to do. Very important to do in once. Nice pre-flip into the corner from Frosty. He is going to be bumped off the ball. A little camera spam as he looks for a way to break down Nush. He's taken all the boost on the map, all the big boost that is. The Nush might still find a way to score though. Fortunate for Frosty that bounce doesn't go off the ceiling and in. Now Nush will back off. Frosty's first touch wide of the net. I think that's really crucial because he had Nush in a great position. Nush was going to be back, low boost, have a tough time defending any aerial attack. But Frosty essentially threw it away on his very first touch. He tried to get it back with that reset. He tried to get a powerful reset, maybe for a backboard double, but he really probably just needed to give up on the air dribble, bring it back down, and reset. Just goes to show how important getting the perfect first touch is, and it's kind of the part of it that we oftentimes gloss over. Frosty actually had a great save in order to keep himself only down 2 to stop Nush, who's going through the air now. He recognizes that Nush is going to have to drop the ball off, so he backs off, gets the save on the goal line. Now trying to muscle Nush out of the way. He's got 12 boosts to work with. That curve dash coming off of the corner is not going to be enough to take the ball away, but what a save. Frosty, can he just continue to make magnificent saves? Will he have to get back on offense? Oh my goodness, Nush! This is a ridiculous shot from Nush. He starts the wall to air dribble away from the net. I thought, what are you doing here? But apparently what he's doing is getting a 104 km/h pinch almost from the center circle. I mean, I think that might have even been in the center circle. Absolutely insane shot from Nush to go up 3-0. I cannot believe it. Nush taking the ball away and headed to the side wall. He's going to get a ceiling reset. How is he going to try and score this one? It's going to be a tough angle. He uses up everything he has. It'll be a Frosty possession with only 38. Good recognition of the way Nush has been playing, though, especially with Nush feeling like he's playing on fire. He's very likely to just dive here and try and stay on ball. You know, everything he's done seems to work. And so why leave now? Frosty recognizing that that's probably the case and making sure to play against the quick challenge. Nush trying to zap dash his way into relevance in this play, but he will leave as Frosty starts a full field dribble. I think he saw Nush go into the ceiling, and that caused him to play the dribble a little bit quicker than he would have. So nice fake challenge. Goes to show how your defensive positioning is so important. And where you're at is going to be read by defenders, so even just putting yourself high on the wall, making it look like you might come off the ceiling, could change up what the offense gives you. Make your life a lot easier. Nush out of boost now. The dashes are inevitably going to lead to a low 50 against Frosty. He's lost the ball now. Frosty doesn't have a ton of boost to work with. Can he get this out? Even if he does, can he get any offense out of it? It's actually a really solid flick to the top left, but it is saved by Nush. Frosty electing to be passive, not try and turn and challenge in that moment. He does make a save on the hook shot. Now Frosty turning back again. Crossbar down and out. Nush actually overshot it there. As he tried to get the follow-up, he found himself too far underneath the ball. And now Frosty's going to punish Nush at the midfield. Nush, wait a second, no way! Oh my goodness, Nush. Everything is going his way. The counterattack the other way. He wants another pinch. I'm sure he does. That was ridiculous. Getting bumped into the save, and he just casually saves it like that was always the plan. Frosty finally gets a second goal after what should have definitely been a goal previously. Nush cannot pre-jump it. You see him going for that diagonal backflip we saw from Frosty earlier. Frosty, wave dash kickoff to undercut Nush. Pre-flip, air dribble reset, but he was hoping for maybe a bump attempt to protect the ball from Nush. He's actually fortunate that he did not get scored on immediately, but he actually is going to get scored on. I was going to say, this should by all means have been a counterattack right away, but Frosty actually still had a chance. Oh, he just kind of hesitated there. It's tough. There's really not a great angle to take. Frosty prevented from going for his wave dash kickoff because Nush bumped him there after the single jump. So he was not close enough to the ground for the flip to be a dash. Nush, my goodness, from the back wall. Nush is in the zone, and Frosty has become his victim. I don't think he's going to be able to get 3 in 30 seconds. That is a ridiculous dribble from Nush. Nush is 14 now. I said he was 13, and it seems like chat is saying he's 14. I could believe that he's 14 because, believe it or not, even when you're 13, the next stage you might become is 14. The more you know. You heard it here first. Nush, a little pancake reset. Oh my goodness. He used that to pop it off the back wall and get a reset. Almost found the angle. Frosty will get a soft flick over the top for a third goal. And again, he's not looking too poor when he does get his opportunities, but Nush seems to be on the ball so much more often. Your kickoff is really good. That's what I was talking about. Nush just gets kickoff possession almost every time. And he'll do so again. Nush, reset over the top. Can he get a double without this hitting the ground? He cannot. So game number 2 going to go to Nush. Frosty with his back against the wall. And my game seems to be freezing as it just wants to hold the screen that says winner Nush. There we go. Game number 3. Nush and Frosty. One of the things I've been thinking about adding to my overlay ever since the Salt Mine inspired me. Salt Mine actually used the guy who made my overlay, the Salt Mine overlay, which is a very good one. So I wanted to add stats. One of the big stats I want to see is kickoff goals, as Nush fakes a flick, and Frosty has been very reactive defensively all series long. Something that doesn't seem like he's going to be able to get away with the way Nush is playing. He'll have to be a bit more aggressive, try and meet Nush, outside of the blue box, which is where he's pretty much trying to defend right now. But I want to see kickoff goals, and I think you just pick a time that you'd say any goal scored before that time is a kickoff goal. I don't know if it'd be 5 or 10 seconds or something. You could also somehow get stats for kickoff possession. I'm not sure. I'm sure there's a way to work it out that it could be useful. Maybe who has the most touches after the first 30 seconds, that's a kickoff one or a kickoff possession. I don't know. There's probably a way to figure it out, but I'd be really interested to add those stats to show them during the show match, because you can get a sense for it when watching, but it'd be really nice to have the exact number. Nush is actually trying to freestyle. Nush is actually trying to freestyle as he just power slide 360s on his dribble. Frosty, though, a very crucial goal, I would say. When someone starts to get that fancy, if you can't capitalize immediately with a goal, then you're going to be in big trouble. If you're updating the overlay, maybe get a new boost meter, since it doesn't really have the same style as the overlay. Oh yeah? You think my boost meter doesn't have the same style? I feel like it fits in pretty nicely. I know people want it underneath the names, which maybe looks better. To me, it looked clunkier when we did it that way. Frosty, a kickoff goal of his own. Get himself back on the board. He has been mixing up his kickoff. We've seen him go wave dash. We've seen him take standards. We've seen him, look for the answer, which is good. We haven't seen him fake much. Something that's definitely worth adding to your arsenal if you're going to be playing a lot of ones. But something that a player like Frosty, who I don't think plays as much ones as some other people who've been on the stream, they're not going to use it as often. In 2s and 3s, I bet you're just about never backflipping or faking off the kickoff as you do in 1s. Frosty's going to get an air dribble bump as Nush headed to the back wall in an attempt to get around. I don't think he got a clean landing on the back wall like he wanted. Frosty tried to go behind Nush as he rotated back. He wanted the fake here, and it worked. Nush says, nice one. I wasn't sure if Nush was going to fall for it. I felt like he actually reacted to it really late. Yeah, I don't know. It almost seemed like he had an opportunity to read the fact that it was a fake, and yet still double jump to the top right corner. But shout out Frosty, who has Nush on the ropes right now. Nush kickoff win. Keep him right within 1. This time he tried to go wave dash. Didn't work out that way, but he did get a possession. Late flip. You see him setting up the single jump, pushing the ball away from him, and then free-flipping underneath it. By the way, as Merrick, I think 8 minutes ago, I think I might have missed your tier 1. Thank you. I think it came in after a pinch or something like that. Some ridiculous play. Frosty to the ceiling. Challenges Nush. I think that's a good sign going forward. Nush has had just about no worries when he's in the air. Always knowing that Frosty's just going to try and react to him on the goal line. Even just a little bit of challenging in the air can change everything. Especially if Frosty can find a way to stay close. Find a way to make it seem like he may or may not be challenging, because the first 2 games, Frosty was just retreating and saying, you can do whatever you want. I'm going to try and get that goal line saved. Frosty demo onto Nush. That shot is not strong enough. Yeah, it should have been a goal, but he didn't get the power. And so I was like, yeah, Nush can definitely respawn, find his way back. Nush given a ton of space again. Frosty, I like that though, challenging at the ball, way more aggressive. And even though, you know, there's a chance that that looks silly, if he doesn't get that slight touch on the ball, then he goes flying past the play, and it almost looks like he made a massive mistake. But the fact that he does connect now has Nush wondering on every take whether or not Frosty will be there. Frosty can't score on this attempt. Back onto the back line. He's going to try and pre-jump. He's got Nush sending it above the crossbar. Counterattacks are not perfect for Frosty, but he might still have a chance. He does. 6-3. Bit of cushion for Frosty after being unable to find a game win in the first 2. Nush. Wow. Little punctuation. Oh, he tried to guess it. He tried to guess it. He said it was 118 km/h, but it was 114. Close, close, close. He was oh, I bet you Frosty. I wonder if Frosty has miles per hour. He was guessing the kph. If Frosty has miles per hour on, then it's just like Nush was nowhere close, so he's just confused. Nush. His last bit of boost. Shipping up to the crossbar. Within 2, Frosty goes flying past, and there's an example of what I was talking about. Wait at recovery. Nush didn't get the kind of pinch he got earlier when it didn't even matter that someone was in net. You got a soft pinch, and Frosty is right back. That's a even better example of why Frosty should be challenging early. If he can find his way back into the play, even after flying what felt like that hard past the ball, and he should definitely be challenging earlier. And he just got Nush up in the air, went underneath him. I can't believe that you guys already had Frosty the throw man picked out when he hasn't even lost a series. Like, won his past 6 series, and people were already speculating their nickname for him when he did finally manage to not win, which, to be fair, is not yet, because he has a Game 3 win for sure, and for all we know, may reverse sweep Nush. Nush, little ground pass to himself, gets the reset, used it for the wave dash catch. Pretty fancy shot, and he's actually still in it. Frosty, you know, maybe more willing to be passive in these moments because he has time on his side. And passive defense oftentimes can result in slower goals, but he's certainly going to regret letting that one in if this one goes straight in. Oh my goodness, Frosty! Frosty! He wanted to control the game with a fake kickoff to end it. If the possession goes into his back corner, he controls it. It truly is over, but instead, Nush read it and chips it into the top right, and now he's within 1 with 13 seconds. This is a fortunate kickoff for Frosty. Not often are these scored directly in the net, but if Nush gets first possession, he's still in trouble. He's got it headed towards the blue half, but no boost for Nush, and Frosty got for a greedy attempt, greedy attempt to go psycho across the whole field, because it is going to end up in Nush's hands just outside the net if he doesn't hit it, which he didn't, but it works out. Frosty ultimately does get the game win, puts 1 on the board, and needs 2 more if he wants to bring it back.
Love you, Feer.
Game number 4. Thank you, Caspian, for the 5 months of Prime. Frosty cleaned up the kickoff slightly and got much more aggressive defensively and was rewarded with a game win. No longer allowing Nush to drop clips on him. He was trying to get him clipped back now with a turtle shot. That probably should have been a goal. I think he could have controlled that better and found the right side of the net, but instead it's past the net. Nush, he really likes these 180s or even 360s on the ground level, looking for flicks or for just surprising angles on the ball, but doesn't find this one. Good dash kickoff for Nush. These are the kind of situations where you kind of have no choice but to play them passively, and Frosty's going to get beat. Nush, so comfortable in the air, it's very clear, as he sets up so many different opportunities on the dribble. Just coasts into that fake flick, and you'd be silly not to respect it, it seems like. Frosty in the back corner. Is he going to try and close any of this distance, or will he just pre-jump from the goal line? He does. Covered at the midfield. Barely lets Nush past the center circle. And Nush was going to try and go grab boost there, it seemed like, for a second, but Frosty guaranteed he didn't do that by sticking with the play. Now Nush on an air dribble 50. Great read on Frosty defensively. Saw that Frosty was going to have to swing from the back corner in front of the net. Not likely to get a good save on the ball. And you actually see Frosty going a little bit past the play, which allows Nush to win the 50 and win the lead. Nush. Another kickoff in his favor. This time Frosty reads the takedown to the ground and has the challenge. He was pre-jumping this wall to air dribble, but Nush actually just backed off the ball. And Frosty found himself on the sidewall with possession, which is not bad. He doesn't get anything out of it. Nush, delayed flick. Oh my goodness. So much power. Nush with 22 boost. Does he get a little bit of a touch? I don't know if he's using the ground at all as a way to help out with that flick. If he kind of pops off the ground slightly, it seems like he almost is intentionally waiting until he makes contact with the ground as he flicks. But powerful flick, one that Frosty gets a touch on, but not enough. Frosty searching for resets. Maybe he didn't find them or didn't want to use them. Nush, oh my goodness, what a save. Kept a couple pixels out by some miracle. It seemed like certainly Frosty was going to get a goal. And now Nush trying to capitalize on Frosty's aggression. His low 50 doesn't lead to an opportunity. In fact, he's going to hand over possession. It's going to be Frosty from the sidewall. His first touch to the left post. Has the reset. Goes low. Gets a goal. Nush jumped onto the back wall, but then immediately decided to cut back down to the ground. Defend from a low level. Still didn't matter. Frosty finding a way to sneak it in the bottom left corner. Frosty boost steal. He's going to take this ball to net as quick as possible. Force Nush to make an immediate play. One that's going to be difficult. Nush has a couple options. Either not pick up boost and try and stay in the way of the ball, cut him off early, or pick up the 100 and look to make a diving save. One that he does not succeed on. So Frosty is tied it up. Going to undercut Nush here. Not enough to stop him from getting boost, but enough to maybe prevent a wall to air dribble. So he's going to have to defend on the ground, and he gave too much space. He wanted to pick up one extra pad, it seemed, but that pad was one pad too many. He was going to have to try and defend with just that singular one. He picked up the midfield one on his way swinging through, but that was a big enough window, and Nush punishes. Nush. Reset in the corner. Uses it to make sure Frosty misses. Gets the boost steal and should have the goal. Yeah, Frosty. He did pre-flip almost directly on the angle of this shot, but I think he would have needed the back wall to not exist if he wanted to be able to get to the position. Frosty, a little zap dash Still not enough to beat Nush to the boost. Nush, so comfortable. But again, forced to use the reset in order to get Frosty to miss, and didn't have the double like he maybe wanted. So it'll be Nush, or sorry, Frosty, who gets to walk it in. Frosty, one of the first times he's been able to win the boost grab in the past few kickoffs, and he immediately gets possession as well as he takes it off the top of Nush's car. Nush going to be chasing him down here on the back wall. Frosty's tried to go the distance multiple times. He hasn't been able to do it with just 100 boost. He would need a little bit more. This time he definitely did it. In fact, he overdid it as he shot just over the top of the net. Now he'll restart again. The backflip challenge. He thought no way. Nush actually comes all the way to the car and backflip challenges me here. Oh, the power slide. What a fake. I mean, Nush, maybe Frosty sees the power slide, thinks Nush is turning around, but he just cruises into the backflip, takes it right off the top of Frosty's car. Frosty forced to play quickly as he tries to get possession in the midfield. Nush is going to go take Frosty's boost. Very intentional play. Instead of taking the midfield, and Frosty is maybe going to be gifted a goal because of it. It's actually going to be a much better position for Frosty, no doubt. So Nush maybe getting a bit too cheeky with it. Should have just accepted the midfield boost and might have been in a better position. Frosty's going to go to the ground. Nush read that. He pre-jumped, went to the back wall, and got back down, knowing that that's where Frosty was going to head after seeing the pre-jump. Frosty needs some offense right now. This ball bouncing in the midfield is going to have to go his way as he has 40 seconds to make up two, and he just turned off the ball. Nush could shoot. And that's it. GG's. Frosty's not even going to play the rest of it. Nush with a catch and a setup infield as Frosty went to grab boost. GG's. Shout out Frosty for coming to the away server. So far, I mean, the away server has been devastating for everybody. You know, away server players, let's see if you got Pogo. Oh, dang it, chat. I got to be faster with that. The away server has lost in all of the Diaz matches as well. And it looks like Frosty's streak will end by hopping to the away server to play Nush. But I think a good showing. A good showing from both Frosty and Nush. It was a good series for sure. So nothing to be ashamed of. Go ahead and, I guess, end these 14 seconds. You Pogo now? Oh, too late. Oh, too late. It ended, so I guess I can't show off my sick Pogo.